Welcome to Paranormal Nightfall, Time Slips, 3 Unexplainable Journeys in Time. Hunting Trip. Jacob Ward's father, Bill, was taking the 11-year-old on his first hunting trip in the fall of 1987 near a small town in southeastern South Dakota close to the Missouri River. A number of hunters formed a large hunting party and had been given permission to hunt the forests and fields of Timber Farm, which was owned by Jacob's 5th-grade teacher. Late afternoon on the second day of the hunt, Jacob had wandered far to the east of the main group. Vibrant maple and oak trees bordered the river, providing a perfect pop of fall color. He anxiously anticipated spotting a buck and bringing home his prize. But he needed to get back to the hunting party's meeting spot as the sun was going down. He fought through the brush and approached the clearing where the hunters were to meet. But instead of the farm's cornfields, he saw a bustling village of teepees. He was frozen in place. Yes, they were hunting on the Yankton reservation, but he'd never seen anything like this. There were at least 24 structures in the village that surrounded a main campfire. Members of the Yankton tribe in deerskin pants and tunics milled around the village. Women were cooking over campfires. Children played and chased each other around the tents. When Jacob reached for his binoculars to get a closer look, he found them gone along with his radio and water bottle. He was now dressed in clothing made of deerskins carefully stitched together. The modern hunting rifle he had carried had miraculously turned into an old flintlock with a powder horn hanging from his shoulder. He then realized he had been spotted by a young girl close to his age. She waved her hand enthusiastically for him to come to her. It was as if she was pleased to see him and somehow knew was coming. A strange sense of calm came over him as he continued to walk toward the village. The members of the tribe welcomed him as if he were a member of the group. They led him to one of the dwellings. Just as he was about to enter, the entire scene evaporated. He was now back the way he was. His clothing, rifle, water bottle, and radio were all there. He told his parents about the experience that evening, but they were skeptical about his story. Jacob continued to enjoy hunting the farm over the years, but never had another unusual experience. However, he still thinks about what happened when he suddenly ended up a member of the Yankton tribe. Farm slip. In the July of 1999, Leslie Clark and her 2 children, 16-year-old Amanda and Michael, went to visit her grandmother's farm in a small rural town in Michigan. The 100-acre farm had been in the family since 1861. The afternoon was sunny and warm, with the children doing chores on the farm. They were taking care of the horses and were having a great time. Amanda took her favorite chestnut horse, Annie, from the enclosure and out to the beautiful 16-acre parcel of rolling hills and green pasture of colorful wildflowers, clover, and knee-high green grass. The pasture was enclosed with a wooden fence. Amanda closed the gate and looked back to the pasture. She noticed that Annie was staring at something in the middle of the field. Amanda looked across the pasture and saw nothing but butterflies and insects flying above the grass. Annie became more agitated and began snorting, still focusing on something unseen. Amanda became concerned as she continued to see nothing. She slowly approached the animal and came up alongside. She turned her head in the direction of the horse when everything changed. Gone was the wooden fence and the grass was now waist-high. The forest that was once in the distance now had only scattered trees with colorful leaves. The air became older, much like a fall day. The sunny blue sky was replaced with dark gray storm clouds. The figures of a man and a boy were now at the crest of the hill. They were both dressed in dirty wool jackets, pants, and worn leather boots. Both were using long wooden staffs to move a flock of sheep toward a sheep pen. Amanda could hear the bleating of sheep and the calls of the 2 men to move the sheep into the pen. Amanda was disturbed by what she saw and heard. Quickly she pulled Annie away and fled to the safety of the barn. Once inside, the familiar smells of horses, leather, and hay filled the air. Amanda went to peek through the barn door and found that everything was back to normal. It was now a sunny, warm day again, with the pasture turned back to what it had been before. A sea of knee-high grass and beautiful wildflowers surrounded by the wooden fence rails. She recounted her story to her brother and grandmother to their amazement. But knowing Amanda would not make up such a fanciful tale, they believed her. Even today she believes that she slipped through time to the beginnings of the farm. She got a look at her ancestors from nearly 150 years earlier. Deadline. Karen Sinclair had her own experience on a cold, blustery day on an evening in March of 2014. Karen was the junior editor for a small book publisher and was working on editing a book her boss needed in the morning. It was late and she hurried to complete her work. While toiling away in the publisher's converted Georgian townhouse in London, Karen was the only employee in the office since it was past 8 p.m. Other staff had left the building hours earlier. Karen finished her editing and closed her laptop, satisfied that her boss would be happy with the results. As she was about to leave, the power suddenly went out. Curiously, the emergency lights, which should have come on when power was lost, never did. Now in complete darkness, she pulled out her cell phone and used the flashlight function to wander through the maze of offices, chairs, and desks. She carefully made her way across the office to the stairs and down 3 flights to get to the building's ground floor lobby, holding the worn railing all the way. Entering the lobby, she noticed that the once marble floor was now made of wide wooden planks with debris and straw all over the floor. The brown rug that had been in the lobby was gone. Muddy boot prints covered the floor and unfamiliar leather tools hung from the walls. The walls were now a dark wood paneling and the room lit only with wall-mounted candlesticks. The air was filled with the smell of livestock, smoke, and mold, and she heard the sounds of horses somewhere near. In the dim light she saw a figure hunched over in the hallway. She knew there had been no one there just moments before. She stood fixed in place and dumbfounded by what she was seeing. The confusion rapidly turned to terror as her mind tried to deal with this new reality. Her throat tightened and fear became unbearable. The hunched-over figure moved, but never emerged into the light. Shadows only added to her fear, giving her the sense that she was being watched. Hair now up on the back of her neck, she felt along the wall looking for the door to the outside. She finally found the door handle and was relieved to feel the cold metal of a modern handle. She threw the door open to be greeted with the cold night air and ran to the train station to catch her train home. The following morning Karen called in sick. The events of the night before had left her badly shaken. 2 days later she returned to work and could hardly believe that everything was as it should be. Karen still wanted some answers, so she talked with one of her colleagues who confirmed that the townhouse had been a carriage house and horse stable previously. Somehow, she had been transported from 2014 to a time when the townhouse had been a stable. Have you ever experienced a time slip? If so, leave your story in the comments below. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content like this.